Imagine being part of a huge experiment, being teleported on a gigantic ship. In this video, I have prepared the Philadelphia experiment for you with all its reality, where you will feel the fear and suspense deep in your bones. Enjoy the show. The Philadelphia experiment was an alleged experiment carried out by the United States Navy at the port of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania on October 28, 1943, where a destroyer escort warship of the DE-173 class supposedly traveled over 600 kilometers and returned in seconds. Allegedly, the official and scientific name for this experiment was the Rainbow Project. The Rainbow Project allegedly involved a small destroyer-type warship during World War II. The incident was said to have taken place at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard while the war was ongoing. The goal was to make the ship invisible to avoid enemy detection. The primary objective of this project was to rapidly send the ship to the desired location without being detected by enemy radars. The system, scientifically named optical invisibility, aimed to cloak the ship with a powerful magnetic shield generated by a special mechanism or generators. This shield was intended to bend or deflect light rays or radar waves, making the ship invisible. Important figures such as Albert Einstein, Dr. John von Neumann, and Dr. Nikola Tesla were allegedly involved in this project from time to time. The essence of the experiment lay in Albert Einstein's unified field theory. According to the theory, applying a high-value magnetic resonance to matter would result in a breakthrough in the time dimension. The alleged events began in June 1943. It was claimed that two massive generators were mounted beneath the ship's forward gun turrets. From these, 4 magnetic beams were to be projected along the deck. 3 RF transmitters were installed on the deck. 3,000 power amplifier tubes were to be used to boost the power generated by the 2 generators. Special synchronization and modulation circuits would reduce the mass of the electromagnetic fields created by the other equipment, while refracted beams and radio waves would surround the ship and ultimately render it invisible to enemy eyes. The experiment is said to have begun around 9 a.m. on the morning of June 22, 1943. When power was supplied to the DAR generators, a magnetic field began to form, followed by a greenish mist that enveloped the USS Eldridge, causing it to disappear from sight. A witness at the scene described the event as follows. For a moment, only the ship's anchor was visible, then that too vanished, and there was no trace of either the mist or the USS Eldridge in the middle of the empty sea. We were all staring into the void. Senior officers and scientists watched their incredible success with a mixture of fear, horror, and excitement, holding their breath. The ship and its crew had vanished from both radar and our eyes. Everything was going according to plan. 15 minutes later, the order was given and the generators were shut down. At first, nothing happened, then the green mist reappeared. As the mist dispersed, the USS Eldridge began to become visible again. We felt that something was wrong. We immediately approached the ship. Initially, we saw most of the crew bent over the rails, vomiting. Oath. Authorized teams quickly evacuated the entire crew from the ship and replaced them with a ready-waiting new crew. A few days later, another experiment was decided upon. The ship had achieved the desired radar invisibility. Modifications were made to the equipment, and on October 28, 1943, the experiment was repeated on the same ship. Shortly after the generators started, the destroyer had reached the threshold of near invisibility. Only its upper side and stern were visible, with some faint lines between them. Then only a boat-sized line remained on the water's surface. A few minutes later, a blue light flashed and disappeared along that line. Now, the entire massive ship had completely vanished. Shortly after its disappearance, it was reported to have been seen miles away in Norfolk. For unknown reasons, it disappeared again shortly after appearing and reappeared in Philadelphia. This time, the situation was very serious, and the crew was in deep trouble. Some of them disappeared and never returned. The most terrifying part of this incident was that 5 sailors were trapped inside the ship's metal plates that had melted and then solidified. Some of the sailors managed to survive but could never return to their former selves. Most of the crew had completely lost their minds, but there was nothing that could be done for them. Some members of the crew had developed psychic abilities. Among these were individuals who could suddenly vanish while walking on the street and reappear in another location. If you've watched up to this point, please like the video and subscribe.